actually, people can they see us? Yeah, they can see us. They can hear us. Isn't this exciting? Here we are.
Well, tonight on What Do You Vape, we're talking about the newest flavors that we're...
Only the vapors showed up for this.
Sure.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
It's because, like Spy Hunter, we just clouded them all out. They couldn't make it to their nests.
Oh, no.
We're running with the limited crew tonight on our first edition Dungeons & Dragons game, which could be maybe a bad idea, maybe not. We'll have to find out and see. But we're doing it. We're doing it. Chuck, why don't you tell us what do you think you want to plug and then what character you're playing? A little bit about the character.
Sure. Yeah, what I want to plug, Defenders of Kobolds, where you can find me. We got some zines out. We got play games over there. I don't know. Defenders of Kobold. That's it. And I'm playing Viet, our dwarven cleric, the lawful member of the party. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Lawful member of the party.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Uh-huh.
Brendan.
I'll be playing Grown Wolf tonight. He carries a large stick, so I call him Grown Wolf in Club because I'm a jerk who makes people groan in real life. And he's a magic user, so he's got some fun spells. He's ready to essentially shoot some magic missiles, make some people sleep. Those are the two big ones that he likes. Make him go to sleep, hit him with magic missiles. And I myself am a defender of Kobold, like pretty much everyone here. And you can catch us streaming tabletop, or you can catch me streaming often with Jen, making art on my Twitch channel. Because we do make those zines, and oftentimes we collaborate on them live and stuff.
It's from Gentle, actually. If you are into art at all, he goes over some really cool techniques for digital art. Jen, well, they both do. Jen.
I don't go over any cool techniques for art because I'm not an artist. So you take that back, Bert.
You don't give yourself enough credit. Just put it out there.
Thank you. I saw it, Bert. Take it back. Thank you. So my name is Jen. I'm a defender of Kobold. You can find me anywhere you can find any of these fine gentlemen. And I am tonight I work on the zine. That's really all I do is zine stuff. So we're getting ready in the next few days-ish to get our next zine out. So the next in our series is going to be releasing pretty soon, so that we can get our holiday issue out shortly thereafter. So we're really cramming on this one. This is going to be fun. And tonight I'm playing Odette, and Odette is a Disney princess druid. She's human, and right now she's in a place that isn't super kind to humans. She's in a place where humans are typically slaves. However, she has animal friendshiped the two giant lizards that pull the carriage, and I think we were getting ready to perform a heist with these little folkin, and that's me.
All right, very good. So last session, just a few drops of what you guys were memorable to your characters. So what happened? We'll just go around again. Chuck, Fred, and Jen.
Yeah, so we got to a fight with some myconids. Hopefully we're not super infected with whatever they had. We found another trader's camp, right? And then we set back off, or getting ready to hit up a big city, I think. But I don't remember the exact details on that.
Yeah, that's good. Fredden?
Yeah, we fought some Iconins. One was named Mike, so they were the Mike and Iconids. And unfortunately, I got some of their purple stuff on me, which wasn't either a Sunny D derivative or purple drink. And it gave me irritable bowel syndrome, essentially. And I spent most of the session hunched over. So I'm happy to be working past that, moving into a city, also keeping an eye on these creatures, which we are now likely instead of, that are in our stead. And hoping to make something sleep, cast magic missile on it, and hit it with a big stick, potentially.
All right, Jen.
I'm just going to keep finding animals and make them my friends. That's really all I'm
Stuff,
gonna do.
As Disney
subterranean
princesses are wont to do. That's
Mhm.
yeah. In your
Mhm.
case, they're just going to be slimes, molds, and things that go creep in the night.
If any
So-
of you have ever seen The Good Dinosaur, there's a part in The Good Dinosaur where this giant dinosaur comes out and it has like these horns and it carries a bunch of creatures on him and he's like, these are my familiars. This is Destroyer, and it's like a really cute little fox and like it has like a bunch of horrific names for them and yeah, that's gonna be my cadre of animals.
And then it ends in a little sparrow, and he's like, "And this is Debbie," and she's
Yeah.
just like, "Chirp."
But Debbie is the brutal one is the
Mhm.
important thing to note. Debbie's the brutal one. So whenever I find something and name it Debbie, you know it's gonna mess some people up.
That's the business end.
Hmm.
Nice. All right. Well, if you will direct your eyes to the Roll20 screen there, I put up a new picture. So your caravan has stopped at this rise, and you're looking down into the city that's kind of built into kind of a dome-like cavern. The city is built onto, layers and tiers of this cave and go up very high to spires. It's actually well lit with this kind of purplescent lighting. It's very bizarre. Instead of like roadways, there are a lot of hanging, what would you call them, like hanging bridges. The cables seem to all be made of very thick spider silk. So this is what you're seeing as you're looking down over it. Now the caravan leader is going through his cupboards, looking to see what he could possibly part off here and what he's going to take on for other cities. And just casually, he's letting you know, look, this is actually it's a trader city for the most part. It's one of the very fringe cities, so there's not going to be a lot in the way of priestess or the cult of Lulth here, which is something you would be very careful around. Otherwise, there may be a few sisters and followers of the religion here. If you do run into them, and you'll know them when you see them, just give them deference, just bow your head, don't say a word, let them pass, and it'll go better for you. He looks at Odette up and down. It's like somebody really should put a slave collar on her or something. She's going to stick out a bit. I mean, you did wear one of those white robes, right, that the other slaves were wearing. That'll help. But she needs to have something that will show that she's owned, or they're going to just assume that she's a stray and somebody will take her.
They're gonna TNR me. Oh no!
The rest of you lot should be all right. This is a fringe city. We get a lot down here. We get a lot of surface worlders that know their way around that'll come here to trade. Just don't pick fights. Be deferential when you can. You'll get along just fine. I plan to stay here probably 2 cycles. You figured out at this point what a cycle is, basically 12 hours. Because again, no sun, so they have a rhythm, a time about things. 2 cycles, we're gonna load up, sell what we can, and be off again. For what you did for my sons back there, I can consider us even. If you'd like to continue on, I'll pay you. But our bargain is complete at this point, and he'll hand the map over to you.
All right, thank you.
City itself, you're gonna want provisions.
Okay.
Yep. And he'll actually toss you a spider silk bag that you hear the clink of coins in.
Okay.
Payment for your services should be enough to get you supplies to get you to the surface world again.
Oh, wow.
I have a proposition for this guy.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's I'm going to leave it totally up to you, Bert, if you think this is appropriate. I'd like to say I want to take one of these reptiles, but I don't want to pay for it. And so I almost want to tell them as a druid how they can form a better bond with their creature so that they can get that type of loyalty from
Like
this
a better
lizard.
efficiency in future animal
Yeah.
husbandry.
Yes, basically. And it wouldn't just apply to this one, it would apply to any of them they get. It's like in turn, essentially. So I get it for free.
The son that you saved from death basically just lightly taps you on the shoulder and kind of motions you to come away from his father for a minute. He says, look, truth to tell, these lizards usually make a trip or two, then they're slaughtered for food, and we resupply. They're not really worth much, and we notice you've got a bond with them. I'm fine if you'll accompany us into town so that we can resupply and get some new beasts of burden. You are welcome to take them.
Cool. Awesome. I'm going to ride into town like Lady Godiva on one of these things. I'm not actually. I'm 100% not actually.
That's great.
Not only am I not a slave,
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
The
Yeah.
most brazen display possible.
fuck your collar.
On these slow lizards. Like,
They call me the lizard tamer.
I'm sorry. I had to do that. I had to say that. Okay, that's
Riding
great.
into town on a reptile with no name.
I let the rest of the party know this because I'm like, hey, I think that we may have just gotten two beasts that if we take care of them, we might be able to get a good work out of them.
That's
That's
good.
good.
That'll help carry supplies.
Yeah, because we're about to cultivate some problems of our own probably anyway.
I
So
would like it very much if we didn't. But
I would too. So less problems is better.
Well, the other thing you would have learned is that they can also they can walk on walls too, so they make very good transport.
oh, that is very
It's like
useful.
N64
Hey.
kid right now. Just
Yeah, I guess, what do you two think about staying on board with them as they travel further? Or do we want to get our supplies and make our own way from here?
I wouldn't mind traveling on with them if it's on the way out, but we could ask them if they'd be willing to wait for us to restock if they wanted us to continue on with them.
Well,
Well,
we're
they said
gonna
they're gonna be here for 2 cycles, so I
2
mean
cycles.
basically a full day.
Okay. 2 cycles, 1 full day.
I mean, I'm okay with going with them just because that's how I get the lizard. So
well, the lizards are ours anyway.
She's
They
talking
are,
about
but-
additional lizards.
Oh.
You might try their patience after a time.
Yeah.
stop befriending our lizards.
Leaping lizards. So now that we have the map, does it seem like their route is our route? Does that jive?
No, their route is actually again, looking at the map since he's handed over,
Yeah.
there are shorter ways for you to get back to the service than the route that they're going to take. But maybe safety in numbers is a better thing. Hard to tell. It's up to you. Up to you completely. Now, you may wait to find out how things go as far as you getting supplies and then answer later. He doesn't need an answer right now.
Yeah.
He's just telling you that 2 cycles is when they're planning to leave. If you want to join them, you're welcome to.
Okay. Well, let's go get our own personal supplies. That way we're not using all of their food and we're not indebted to them in case we need to break off.
And here's what we're going to do to make up for the party members that are not joining us tonight.
Okay.
Just in case you do run into some trouble, just so that everyone isn't taken captive or whatever at once, they're going to stay behind and make a base camp out here while you guys go in.
Okay.
Makes sense narratively. Cool.
I'll ask our employer/former employer, where's the best place to get supplies in the city that will not take too much advantage of surface dwellers.
Well, it's an open market. It changes often, changes frequently. I can point you out to certain merchants that I know of once we get there.
Okay.
That may help.
That would be a help. Yeah. All right. Well, sounds like. Well, what do y'all think? Do we go the potentially safer route and after our errands today meet back up with the caravan, or do we go to the shortest route out of here, which is just going to be us?
You should probably go safe. It kind of feels like we don't have the numbers right now.
I mean, they've been pretty above board with the dealing. I thought we were going to kill them for that other map, but they seem pretty nice.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
like
okay
this
with
close
that.
to slaughtering them.
We're right here.
Yeah. I mean, I say that as I pat one on the shoulder.
To think we
No,
almost
were gonna
murdered
kill
you.
for your stuff.
To think we almost murdered you, and now we're best friends. It's great.
Meanwhile, Viet's like, no, he's
We
joking.
weren't doing any of that. None of that.
Viet says over my dead body, and I'm like, yeah, probably him too. Probably
Oh,
him too.
God.
He was not in on it. He was not in on it. Okay. So provisions and supplies with the pointed out vendors is kind of where we're at, huh? Are there any like well-known places where you could get information? You know, kind of saloons, canteens, haberdasheries. You know, whatever the people here are into.
As I said, the trade is fairly random, just depending on who's here at any one time. But there are some permanent buildings. There is a building of delight. Often has very rich food, clothing, entertainment of all sorts. You can probably
Video games.
find things of interest there. It's hard to miss. It's a building with 4 pillars on each side of it. There's a few other places. There's a place dedicated to riding beasts where we're going to replace our lizards here. They've got various other mounts too, but if you've got no experience with them, I don't recommend it. The lizards are fairly easy. As long as you feed them, they're willing to be harnessed and ridden. They don't seem to have an issue. Very mild-mannered. There are some others that are not so. It takes a bit of skill.
You don't say.
Yeah, that's what I like. While they're saying that, I kind of give her the riding into town on a like insert new animal type.
Riding into town with the horse with 4 heads.
If you've gotten any prejudice against particular races, I'd be wary of that as well. Folk here, it's a fair conglomerations of different races. You got your fish folk, of course. There's plenty of drow, dark dwarves, a few other things. Yes, even some of them tentacular faced folks that you just really don't like to deal with. They just give you, I don't know, you just get shivers down your spine whenever you turn your back to them. I don't trust them, but don't let them know that. That's hard not to. They read your mind, but don't physically show that they're a problem.
So it's kind of like a decorum thing. Like they know what you know already, but if you're overt about it, you're the dickhead.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Customs, traditions, trying not to get killed. Good stuff.
I will keep my helmet firmly planted on.
Why are you going to the House of Delights?
No. Anyway.
Oh, come on. The House of Delights for him would be a fantastic tea and maybe a nice serving of biscuits. Who knows?
It could be. Yeah.
It's like, look, we have from the surface something called a soonflower, and it's just like a sunflower and some dirt.
This is like the one time that like Viet should be the way Chuck normally plays his characters. Yeah. And it's just not, and it's perfect. I love it.
I managed to embarrass Chuck. How often does that happen?
I love
Usually
it.
He's getting us with the.
It's great.
The innuendo comes together like this.
There you go. Well, you guys should be looking at a map now,
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're coming in through this this tunnel here that I am beeping on it. And as you're pulling up, the caravan leader says, whoa, wait, something's not right here. As you're coming in, you're seeing that there's a really rough barricade. That's what this wall is here. Been thrown up around the exit of the tunnel you're coming out of. And it's being manned by several of these half dark elf, half spider creatures. They're armed with, they've got little quivers of throwing spears and bows. And they're stopped ahead of you is stopped a merchant, and they seem to be, they've lined up everybody in the merchant caravan. They said they're having them stripped down, and they seem to be inspecting them very carefully before they're letting them in. And the door into the cavern, into the city, is manned by several more of these creatures who are pulling across these gigantic stone doors that bar on this side. Which seems a little odd.
Yeah. Turn to the brother and I ask if they've ever experienced this in their caravanning.
No, we were just here not many months ago. This is entirely new. I as clueless as you are. It's your turn in queue, and it's not easy to turn around in this cavern you're
Okay.
coming through.
I'd like to ask the
Merchant pulls
brothers
forward.
if they have a collar ready, so that way I
Yeah.
can toss it to you in case.
Yep. Yeah, they do. They hand you one. And basically it's not like, it's actually more like a piece of jewelry than anything else, but it's made of like a very dark gray iron. And it's got some inscription on it. The clasp isn't even like you could take it on and off yourself if you wanted to.
Good.
It's not very difficult. It's like
Okay.
it just shows that that the human is owned by someone. That's all it is.
It's a class status symbol thing more than a restraint device.
I put it on.
All right. So as you come up, one of these half spiders, half dark elf comes up to you, while the others have bows trained on all of you. And he stands with the spider legs. This being stands 7 feet tall. It's very large. It looms over you. The spider abdomen and body is as tall as you are, and then he's got the trunk on top of that. As he comes up and he looks at you, surface worlders, merchant, do you have your papers? The caravan leader shows them the papers, like, all right, strip. He's questions like, why? To see if you're infected with the rust. The rust. What's the rust? This is the caravan leader. He's like, I'm no idea. He's like, if you have it, we'll know. And it's like, you're not doing business here if you refuse this. Okay.
Yeah, I'll comply.
Yeah, I'll comply
right.
as well.
Yeah, they just has the man hold his hands up and walk slowly in a circle. He's like, all right, you're good. You're good. And again, he just checks over everybody. A friend in your character has been having really bad bowel movements over the last few days as you've been clearing out a little worm infestation. So you're not looking so good.
My dignity is like a -5 right now if it was a stat. That's the mod.
Yeah, he's all right. All right. When it gets to Viet, though, Viet, you're Elven? Dwarven, that's right. That's Dwarven. He's like, surface dwarf.
Yeah.
He backs off from you a little bit. Yeah. All right. You all are clear. You're clear. And he makes a little symbol with his hands, and the ones behind him pull open these 2 immense stone doors and allow you in. And so what you're seeing, if you want to ask them anything, you can. Let me just tell you what you're seeing here. So he lets you in, and again, there's more of these walls that your host here is telling you he weren't here before. This area 5 is where all of the caravans are kind of just sitting up, and there's tents set up. And so some business is being done here. This standing structure that I'm pinging over here, it's 2 just squat square buildings, and apparently it's set up so that people can go in. It's got fresh water. You can clean up, basically. Okay. So it's kind of like a campground that has showers. Right. That's what you're looking at. So there's a lot of these caravans that just kind of circle. They've got fire pits going. There's some trading going back and forth between people, and people are using the building just to clean up and scrub down and that sort of thing.
Reminds me of a Walmart parking lot with all the RVs that park because it's one of the few places you can.
I whisper to Viet and to Grownwolf. I say, like, do you want to ask any of the other caravans to see if they know what the rust is?
I was just going to ask one of these drow spiders.
I thought we were already through.
Or driders, if you will.
Driders on the storm.
I was going to ask them. So now that we're proven not infected, I have some skills in healing arts, and I've never heard of this rust before.
If you do, you can make a fair bit of coin in the camps here. There are a lot that are sick. There are some that are not infected yet. Once it begins to show, we force them out. It's a plague of some sort. It shows up on your skin as places of red speckled. It looks very much like rust on iron. Once it begins to show, within a cycle, it just destroys the mind. Those infected just turn into just destructive engines. They'll try to kill, eat, and destroy anything around them.
Is
He
this?
he actually motions you.
Yeah.
His body climbs very easily, but he climbs up the side of a wall, which you can follow because there's like sacks and
Yeah.
grain barrels and things. And you look over and you see that the water that laps up the shore of the city is just this crimson red.
Oh no.
He said the red tide happened maybe a month ago or so and brought a sickness with it. The waters are still red like blood, but no more infections have been coming from it. The people that were here, though, those that were here when the water first washed up, are all gone or driven off now.
Is this any relation to the plague the Myconids are dealing with?
He nods at that. He says, likely it is some strain. Their bodies don't show the rust. Instead, they show different darker colors, purples, blacks, streaks through their forms. The same effects. Their minds go mad. They seek only to destroy that which is in front of them, to devour.
That's quite a shame.
Yeah, that's rough business. Do your doctors have any idea of what's brought this with the red tide? If it's a disease, if it's part of the environment, if it's
Well, we've sent out runners to the different cities, but we haven't heard back yet. As far as we know, this is the only city that's been infected.
Okay.
have your magic users figured out if it's magical in nature, perhaps enchanted or a curse?
We only had 2 of any significant power here, and they were infected early on. We've not had any sisters here of Loth or otherwise, or any practitioners of magic that can tell us otherwise since.
I dabble. I'm not the best, but I might be able to help a little. And frankly, I'm not showing symptoms. I'm fine. We've passed the quarantine, if you will, but we've encountered some of those Iconids with the purple rust, as it were.
Yeah, he gets a little standoffish at this, and he's like, did you get any of the...
Not at all. No, they were killed from afar. They were put down humanely from a distance, which is why I'm so confident in telling you this very controversial information.
We don't know yet if it can be spread or not, but we're not taking chances.
I agree. I wouldn't take a chance either. That's why we killed them so far away.
The populace here is made well aware of the rust and its signs. So if anyone sees anyone acting out of the ordinary or sees the rust growing on your skin, people will be informed. You'll be driven out.
That's fair. You have to protect yourselves.
Very well. Thank you for your time.
If it's not clear, I'm being super quiet because I'm a slave.
Okay. They didn't mention it at all, by the way. Could be just because you're wearing the collar, maybe not, but they checked you over just the same as everyone else, didn't really comment, didn't treat you any differently. So when you get into this area 5, which is where your caravan leader is going to set up, you do notice that this set of gates here is open, but more of those driders are standing by. It looks like they've got it set up so that door can be slammed at a moment's notice, and then bars from this side. So again, that's kind of what I was getting at. Once you come through these main stone doors, you're barred in.
Okay. Yeah. Well, once we're through, I would be interested in going up to the guards at that door. Not attempting to go through, but just ask, like, is the rest of the city closed to us, or?
No, it's opened. Just beware.
Very well. Thank you.
And so as you see through here, most of the permanent structures are past these gates.
Yeah.
There are still people doing business, but you're noticing that where the Red River kind of brings in the tide, there are a lot of armed people like just staring very intently at the water.
Are they trying to keep people away from the water, it seems? Do we get a sense?
They're facing the other direction. It's like
Towards
they're
it.
wanting to make sure that they're not being something is coming out of the water.
Is there anything in the environment here that I could use to quickly put red marks on someone as a die or a contact thing?
Oh my gosh.
Like
Well, the
clay,
water
earth,
itself
or-
is very red, but you don't know if that'll transfer over. Otherwise, looking around, no, not really. Most anything that's colored has to be unnaturally done, so like through a dye of some sort. Most things here are
I'm gonna look
as far
for,
as the spectrum goes, they're into the greens and purples, and there's very little of any other color.
Is this red tide like a big cultural event for that reason then? Like a big interesting thing that typically happens, and this year just the rust happens to have coincided with it essentially?
Actually, if from the what you were getting from the conversations, no, this has not happened before. No one knows what this
so
is.
this is its own unique problem. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna while everybody else is doing stuff, I'm gonna look for a textile merchant and see if there's any red dye I can buy.
All right. Are you guys largely keeping together, or are you splitting
I'm
up?
trying to.
I'll stick with it because I have a strong feeling that Grown Wolf is going to get himself killed, or Odette is going to need backup from someone.
Hey, so I'm looking around. I'm riding in on my lizard, and and I'm looking around and seeing, are slaves like talking to each other? Like, are there a lot
Yeah.
of human slaves?
There-
And does it
there
seem
are-
like they talk to each other?
There are a fair number of slaves here, actually, or at least you assume they are because they're wearing the white robes.
Mhm.
However, most of them don't have collars on.
Oh,
Like you don't see too many that do.
that's not what I was
would-
expecting.
I would probably like. Are they talking to each other? Like, do they look
Yeah.
like they're free and hanging out? So I would probably go up to one and maybe one that. Are they all human?
Actually, the one of them kind of is near you, and she's panhandling. She's kind of asking if anyone has spare change, basically, and if can you spare a few coins, that sort of thing. So she comes fairly near your group, and actually, as she sees that you're surface dwellers, she like her eyes get really big, and she runs up to you, and she's like, it's just she's not sure where to start. It's like, how are you going home soon?
Oh
That's
no!
our goal. How long have you been trapped down here?
I've lost track of time. There's no sunlight here. Like she looks like just haunted. You can see underneath the white tunic, she actually has like Kerboli hardened leather. You know, and you can tell under the cloth again, there is a weapon of some sort swinging on her left hip.
Are you still as
Enslaved?
disgusting as it is? Are you still enslaved?
Oh, my party was taken. I don't know how long ago. Most of us were killed. I've been traded back and forth a few times, and then when this tide came here, a lot of the merchants that were bringing in slaves to sell were driven off. They went mad with the sickness, and so we're free, I guess. But where are we going to go? I mean, most of us were taken from the surface world. We didn't come here intentionally. We were taken as slaves, and
How many are you?
I have no idea where to go. Well, there's 7 others that I talk to regularly. There are more, but they won't talk to us. Something has happened to their minds.
I whispered.
Do
it
they have
to-
the rust?
No, their masters were those creatures with. They did something to them.
Oh. So they're kind of just gone then.
They can feed themselves and little else. I mean, you can tell them to do things and they'll do them, but they don't think on their own anymore.
Little autonomy left in their consciousness. I see.
It's possible they'll get better. I've been praying to the goddess since I've been here, but I've not felt her touch. My spells have not come back to me. I've had nothing I can do to get out of here. It's just so good to see others.
What's your name? I love asking that question.
Dagma. She forgets her. She like wipes her hands on the cloth and puts it out.
Shake your hand.
Yeah, shake her hand.
I was part of we were hired. My company and I were hired to protect a village from null attacks, but it wasn't nulls that were leading the attack. It was a company of Drow. They just overwhelmed the village, took the humans captive, and we were forced down here.
Alternate title for today's episode: "No Place Like Home."
No.
That's kind of the story that we're getting from all sorts of people down here. We ourselves have a compatriot who we've essentially had to. I mean, do you mind talking about it? And I point to you, Odette, to see if you want to explain your thing, if you feel comfortable with it. I don't want to be the one to do that.
I'm not a slave. I'm a god of all reptiles. Gestures to reptiles.
I mean,
They
proof is in the
scree.
pudding.
They scree.
Dogma kind of covers her face and says, "I'm sorry. Was her master did something to her mind too?"
Yes. If Dogma, please.
She
Please.
prays to the god Alt Dazni.
Oh gosh.
Love it. Oh, it's my page.